Don't send your child to school with shoes that tie if they can't tie shoes. Hi, it's Desiree. Welcome back to my channel. This video is all about what your child needs to know before they go to kindergarten. I have asked multiple kindergarten teachers that I am close with and that I worked with what they would love for your child to know before coming to kindergarten. I saw some of these things firsthand. A lot of children, even in first grade, struggle with these things, and they seem to be, a lot of them, common sense that parents don't even think about. So let's get into it. These are in no particular order, but of the top 10 things that your child should know before kindergarten, I've listed them in two categories, 5 in each. The first category being school-related things and more academic. The other category is other skills that are beneficial for your child to know. So let's start with school-related. The first thing that your child's kindergarten teacher would love for them to know is how to hold a pencil. Kids come into kindergarten holding pencils and crayons in all sorts of wacky ways, and I saw it in first grade as well. They will hold pencils like this when they write, or sometimes they hold it upside down and they try writing like this. Just teach your children, there isn't one right way to hold a pencil, let me say that first, but just generally teach them that you grip a pencil between these 2 fingers or between these 3 fingers, and teach them to use the correct muscles in their hands. The speed at which your child can write and the correct letter formation has so much to do with how they hold the pencil. So just try to really instill the fact that they use 2 or 3 fingers to grip the writing utensil while they are writing. Along that same line, still part of number 1 is how to hold scissors. The goal is to have your children have their fingers inside the larger hole and their thumb inside the smaller hole. As simple as this sounds, it's not common sense for them to hold them like this while they cut. Kids will hold them this way and cut across. They'll try to cut like this. They'll hold the scissors the wrong way completely, and they'll be confused as to why it's falling out of their hands. So just have them practice. It's not bad to teach your children to use scissors. I had children in first grade who told me that they had never used scissors until kindergarten, and that I understand is a safety thing, but supervise your children and teach them to hold the scissors correctly. Side note with that, teach them to walk by holding the scissors closed around the sharp part like this. Save us teachers some sanity and teach this at home. The second thing I'd like to talk about is teach your child to write their name legibly. Ideally first and last name, but at minimum teach them to write just their first name legibly with correct letter formation and spacing. If you can go one step further and teach your child to write across a straight line and not go dipping under the line and over it, that would be awesome, but that, once again, is something that kids learn in kindergarten. One way you can do this is to write in a highlighter or a light-colored marker and have your child trace that and trace it over and over and over. You can purchase or print for free some letter writing activities and printing pages, as well as lined paper for them to practice writing their name correctly. Something that I learned in first grade as a teacher was that first grade doesn't have any math standards for counting. Kindergarten is the only time your child will be practicing counting. If your child cannot count to and back from 100 by the end of kindergarten, they will not be ready for a lot of things that first grade covers. So before your child gets to kindergarten, if they can count to and from 20, that is ideal. Obviously, after they can already count to and from 20, go on to bigger numbers, but as far as before kindergarten starts, 20 is perfect. The fourth thing that your child should know before they go to kindergarten is shapes and colors. I put these together because they can be taught at the same time. I'll put some links in the description box of ones that you can purchase or print. As for colors, teach them the rainbow, teach them that mixing colors makes new colors, teach them that red, yellow, and blue are primary colors and that every other color comes from those. You can teach your child colors by having them mix paint. They can mix water with food coloring. Number 5 on the school-related items is to teach them to identify letters and their sounds. It is so helpful for children to already know what sounds letters make before coming to kindergarten. And your child will already have seen this and been exposed to it, so when they learn it at school, it just solidifies what they know. I'll put some letter recognition and letter sound activities in the description box as well. On to the other skills list. This list has also 5 things, and these are things that parents often forget to teach their children before they go to school, and they don't really even think about it because some of them seem like common sense. First thing on that other items list is don't send your child to school with shoes that tie if they can't tie shoes. This seems like such common sense, but a lot of parents don't even think about it. They just tie their kids' shoes, toss them in the car, send them to school, and kindergarten and first grade teachers spend so much time tying shoes, it's ridiculous. And just don't do that to your teachers. Teach your children to tie their shoes or send them to school without laces. Second is teach them to open and close their snacks and water bottles independently. The top 4 things that I saw in first grade, at least, as far as independence with opening and closing things, I would say please teach your child to open and close their backpack, lunchbox, Ziploc bags and Tupperware, or don't send them to school with that, and their water bottles. The third thing that would be so helpful for teachers if your child could do is advocate for themselves to use the restroom. A lot of children are not used to being in a position where they have to ask to use the restroom, and so they just panic and wet themselves at school. And in kindergarten, there's so many accidents, and I even had a couple accidents happen in first grade, and that doesn't need to happen. Teach your child to recognize when they need to use the restroom and raise their hand and ask to go. Along with that, a side note, teach them to button their pants, zip their pants, pull their pants up, as well as close the door while they're using the bathroom. Number 4 on the other skills that your child should know before kindergarten is to sit through an entire story. Choose any picture book, even if it's just a baby board book. Have your child sit crisscross on the floor, have you sit in a chair above them, and read them a story. Pretend that you're the teacher. Read them the entire story from cover to cover and have them sit crisscross with their hands in their lap. This doesn't seem like it would be very hard for them, but it is. And every time they go to move or get up or play with a toy, remind them kindly to sit crisscross with their hands in their lap and work on that stamina. And the very last thing that children should know before they go to kindergarten is their first and last name as their first and last name. So ask your child what's their first name, ask them what is their last name. Kids think that their last name isn't their real name. They think that their last name is their second name, and just teach them the correct terminology and teach them what it is. A lot of children don't know their last name when they go to school, and it makes it hard for teachers if there are, say, 2 children with the same name in the class and she says, "What's your last name?" They have no idea, and if both kids don't know, then you don't know who's who. So just to recap, the school-related topics are holding utensils correctly, writing their first and last name legibly, counting to and from 20, knowing their shapes and colors, and identifying their letters. The other skills that they should know are shoe tying if they're gonna wear shoes that tie, opening and closing objects like backpacks and snacks, self-advocating to use the restroom and correct restroom skills, sit through a whole story, crisscross applesauce, and to know their first and last name. Thanks again for visiting my channel. I hope these tips helped you and they give you an idea of what to practice over the summer before your child heads into their first year of school. Good luck, and let me know in the comments if there's any other questions you have. Thanks again. From my bookshelf to yours.